Hello, BookTube. Today I wanted to do a video of my favorite classics. So these are what I'm terming as classics. I'm not sure if they're considered like classics everywhere, but in my mind they are. And then I'll do a regular favorites video, but I just had so many classics that I wanted to talk about that I felt like I needed to do a separate video just for them. Okay, first of all, I have Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. So I hate this edition of it. I think it's an ugly cover. And it's like the mass market paperbacks, but that's because I read it in school. And this is the second copy of it that I have. But my first copy is not prettier. It has like a weird rose. But most people know the story. It's about England and what it's like to be a woman, love, romance, marriage. That's what I would term this as. But it's funny, and like, I think a lot of people think classics and they think like serious and difficult to read, but I think this is so easy, and I wouldn't say easy. It's probably not easy for everyone, but it was hard the first time I read it, but it's fun, and it's I don't know, it's exciting. And my English class had like a little dance thing where we learned how to do like the kind of dances they would have done in balls at this time. Like, it's, I don't know, it's a fun book. So I recommend it to anyone that likes romance or women, I guess. Then I have The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I think this is the only Fitzgerald book I've read, and I want to read more of his work. If you have recommendations, I don't really know where to start. I think that's why I haven't like gone down that road yet. But yeah, if you have recommendations, please let me know. I really like this book. It's short. It's not hard to read, but and there's a twist ending that I will not spoil. But it goes into wealth and love and the 20s, and it's just America, consumerism. It deals with heavy topics, but in a very like accessible way, I feel like. And Fitzgerald's writing is just beautiful and amazing. So there's that. Okay, then I have Dandelion Wine by Ray Bradbury. This is not one of Bradbury's most famous books, but I completely adore it. It's about a young boy, and it kind of goes into his childhood, and it's based off of Bradbury's childhood also, but they talk about like summer nights and cicadas and things like that, and so it holds a special place in my heart, because the writing's just really beautiful and poetic, and yeah, great imagery also. Okay, then I have The Handmaid's Tale, which I realized I might not have put in my women's books, which is an issue. This is a book about women, for sure. Should have been in that video. This is about Offred, who is living in a dystopian society where she's forced to have the children of people that are of some family. It is about women, and it feels very real, and it feels like something that could happen, which makes it really, really difficult to read. It's just so, I don't know, it's so possible that something like this would happen, that we would end up in a society where women are not allowed to read and don't have access to any education and are forced to be raped every month to have someone else's child. Like, it's insane. And to feel that close to something, like Atwood's writing is crazy amazing. But yeah, I almost dropped it. Yes, so highly recommend this one. Great writing also. Okay, then I have Little Women. I have this really cool edition of it that I really love. Let's see if the light will be better. There we go. It has like this, and it looks like it's been like embroidered almost, which I really like. But it's about, I think, a family of 4 girls, and they all are just growing up, and it's about their relationships and what it's like to be that age, and it takes place in like 1800s, I think. I don't really remember, but I just remember loving it. So yes, highly recommend that. Oh, there's another one I should. Okay, wait. Let me do these first. Okay, then I have The Catcher in the Rye. This is a very famous book. The only novel by J.D. Salinger. It talks about it's a story of a boy who named Holden Caulfield. I have a little Holden Caulfield pin also, which I might like insert a picture of here because I think it's cute. But he is struggling with his identity. He's struggling with growing up and coming of age. So he like runs away to New York after he's kicked out of boarding school and has like a night in New York. And it all takes place over like one day, I think. And it's very sad. And I've read it twice, and the first time I read it, I thought Holden was very, very whiny and annoying, and I was like, why am I reading this? This is not fun. Why is it famous? But then I read it in my English class, and I loved it. Maybe it was because I was older and I was more whiny myself, but I enjoyed the writing. I think it gives you a real glimpse at what it's like to grow up, and it's really sad and pretty. Yeah. Read this book. It's very good. Okay, next I have Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. Or Bronte. I don't know how to say it. So this is a book about a woman who is becoming, I think she's like a tutor for a girl, and so she goes to live in this mansion with this family where she's tutoring the daughter. And she meets this kind of creepy older dude who falls in love with her, and then there's craziness ensues kind of. But it's about the strength of being a woman. It's about love and what it means to live in this society at this time. This is A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith. It's a beautiful book. It's kind of big, but it's a beautiful book about a girl living in Brooklyn and her family. Her dad's like an alcoholic, and her mom's just trying to help them get by, and it's just really sad and beautiful. And she also loves to read, so it has a very nice place in my heart for that reason. But yes, highly recommend this. So those are my favorite classics. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know your favorite classics in the comments. A while back in like elementary school, I decided that before I went to high school, I would start reading all of the classics that exist, so that like I had already read a lot of them before. So I read like Animal Farm, To Kill a Mockingbird, Lord of the Flies, some of these books, and because I wanted to have like a grasp of the story before I had them in an English class, because I think reading a book in an English class and reading it by yourself is just a completely different experience. And I love English classes, so for me it tends to be a good experience, but it's just like a different like analytical view of it, whereas when I read things, I read it for the story and for fun and for the characters, and I'm not like analyzing paragraphs and stuff. So I think it was nice for me to do that, and I recommend that to anyone that isn't in high school yet, because I think reading classics is just such a good experience. And they're classics for a reason, you know? Like, all of these books are not famous because they're bad. They're famous because they're well written and because they're good. And I think once you get past the like scariness or intimidation of it being called a classic, I think it becomes a lot more enjoyable. So, thanks for watching.